Dahil pagbabago'y mapayapang pinaglaban, isang perlas kung saan sumisikat ang araw.
Nakilala ng mundo katapangan mo at kabutihan ng iyong puso. Ipagpatuloy mo adikain ng mga bayaning nagbuwis ng buhay para sa iyo.
Muling buhayin ang alab at ningas ng pag-ibig mo. Iwagayway pandilang sa kisap ng dangal ng tabang at ng kalayaan mo. Ipakita sa mundo ang diwang makabayang nasa puso't isip mo. Ika'y isang lahing pinapala ng may kapal. Katatagan at tapang mo'y inubog ng kasaysayan. Sa katapatan mo, karangalan ang iyong lipin ay itatanghal kahit sa
Nakilala ng mundo, katapangan mo at kabutihan ng iyong puso. Ipagpatuloy mo at ikain ng mga bayaning nagbuwis ng buhay para sa iyo.
Point 3.
Qabayan Radio 94.3. It is the 13th of March 2021, and again, it's a Saturday. And during this time of the week, of course, we are here to discuss some important things that matters to the Filipino community here in Qatar, especially ngayong mga panahon na ito. And for tonight, of course, for this 10th episode of Usapang Qabayan, we are going to be joined in by the officers of the Philippine Professional Organization Qatar, or PPO. And I would like to introduce our guests first and foremost. Our first guest is the chairman of the Philippine Professional Organization in Qatar. He is a professional electronics engineer, an ASEAN engineer, and an ASEAN chartered professional engineer. He is also the 2019 Professional Regulations Commission's Outstanding Professional of the Year in the field of electronics engineering. He is the co-founder and 2015 governor of the Institute of Electronics Engineer of the Philippines Qatar chapter, the chairman of the CCTV Code of the Philippine Technical Working Group, and he is currently working as a projects manager for Black Arrow. Thank you very much for joining us, Engineer Adonis Talabo. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you din for inviting us here.
Yeah, maraming magandang gabi po ulit sa inyo. And also joining us for this evening is the treasurer of the Philippine Professional Organization Qatar for 2021. She is the Philippine Nurses Association Qatar president from 2019 to 2020. The Philippine Nurses Association Qatar vice president in 2018, a treasurer of the same organization in 2017. She is the general manager of Qatar Care, and she spearheads the COVID-19 Qatar Care swab team for the Ministry of Public Health and Qatar quarantine facilities from March 24, 2020 up to present. Thank you very much for joining us, and magandang gabi din po, Ms. Mary Rose Camilon Uy.
Good evening, RJ Kenzo. Good evening po sa Kabayan listeners and viewers. So, yes, good evening po sa mga nurses natin na nakikinig ngayon.
Yes, magandang gabi po ulit sa ating lahat. And right now, actually for this particular discussion, I would just like to know more first about the organization that you represent, particularly the Philippine Professional Organization Qatar. So ano po ba ang, what's the idea about this particular group? I think the President, Sir
The
Adonis, the chairman can answer that question for us.
Okay, so the Philippine Professional Organization in Qatar was formed para sa mga kukuha ng special licensure exam overseas.
Okay.
So it started last 2009 by the four organization, namely the electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, the civil engineering, and the architects. So they formed this group to facilitate the special licensure exam in the Qatar.
Okay po. So bali, the initial po pala, the very main purpose of forming or having this organization is para makatulong sa mga Filipino professionals dito sa Qatar na makapag-exam ng PRC examinations kahit wala sa Pilipinas.
Yes po. Actually, last 2009, it was actually mandated by the previous president, Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, that mandated under the executive order number 835
Okay po.
series of 2009. She directed the PRC, the Professional Regulation Commission, and other concerned government agencies through Department of Department of Labor and Employment to conduct the yearly SPLE examination in the Middle East. Actually, it started in Saudi Arabia, and second here in Qatar and in UAE, and it covers the whole Gulf countries.
Okay. So, it started in 2009 po, ano? So, yun
Yes.
po yung first examination. Ano po yung naging first examination natin dito sa Qatar nun? Kung, I don't know kung may idea kayo. Ano po yung naging first natin? Mga engineers po, ano? Kasi
Yung-
parang mga engineers ang nandito.
Yung
na-
yung mechanical engineers,
Okay.
electrical, UAP, architects I mean, and civil engineering.
Sila po ang mga
yun.
nauna.
Oo.
So, base po dun sa executive order na binanggit nyo coming from the then former President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, is the PPO po directly working with the PRC or yung Philippine yung sa licenses po, or do we have to go through other channels dito sa Qatar to coordinate po yung mga examinations na yan, or direkta po ba tayo sa PRC mismo ang PPO?
Okay. So actually yung una si PPO, yung apat na organization, nag-send sila ng parang position paper doon sa Malacanang para sa exam dito sa Qatar.
Okay po.
After that, yung coordination sa PRC is through PULOA. So the
Okay.
PPOQ will only assist in the preparation of the examination, like review, preparation of documents, and all those related na mga gawain before sa exam. Pero the PULOA, sila ang may directly na mag-communicate sa PRC.
I see. Okay. So it's an intergovernment collaboration with Polo OWA and the PRC.
The
And then
PRC.
kayo po dito sa Qatar, kayo naman yung yung PPO itself is the conduit or the channel between Polo OWA and all the other
And all
professional
other organizations. Yes,
I see.
correct po.
That's good to know. So it started from 4 organizations, namely yung PSME, yung PICE, UAP, and IIEE. So from 4 organizations in 2009, ilang organizations na po meron tayo ngayon by 2021?
Actually, after the 4 organization, it was added by the PICPA, which are
Mga accountants po ito, no?
accountants natin, opo, and followed again my organization, Philippine Nurses Association Qatar. Then hanggang po ngayon, we are composed of 14 strong organizations po.
Wow. That's quite
so
a lot
ang
already.
dami na.
Is it okay if we name these organizations para at least alam din ng yung mga members ng mga organizations na to, na
Oo,
baka kasi hindi sila aware na, halimbawa, ako pala ay nurse, hindi ko alam na pwede palang, or nakatapos ako ng nursing before, but, and I'm practicing siguro mga sa nursing facilities dito, tapos hindi ko alam na pwede palang mag-exam dito. So they can contact yung particular organization niyo po,
Organization,
and then
yes
they
po.
can arrange, hopefully, to have an exam. So,
Yes.
yung iba pong mga organizations na binabanggit natin, ano nga po pala ulit?
To start with, yung IIEE natin,
Yes po.
Institute of Integrated Electrical Engineers of the Philippines. Yung current president po natin ngayon is si Engineer Rodelyn Reyes. Oo, yung active natin. Sunod natin is PICE Qatar.
Mga civil engineers po yata ito, no?
Civil engineers. The president is Engineer Mark Anthony Abendan. Tapos followed by PICPA, yung mga nag-handle ng pera. So,
Mga certified
certified
accountants
public
natin.
accountants natin. Ang president naman natin dyan is si Mr. Alvin Pulido.
Okay po.
Then followed by PSME. PSME is Philippine Society of Mechanical Engineers,
Right.
Qatar chapter. President natin dyan si Engineer Michael Serben. Then UAP, yung mga architects natin dyan, ang galing nila dyan mag-drawing ng mga bahay. So ang current president natin si Architect Mario Herman Macaranas.
Right.
Then my beloved organization, Philippine Nurses Association Qatar, andyan yung very active nating president, si Mr. Pitch Dalis Loyo.
Also from Qatar Care.
Oh yeah, from
Kasama niya din
Qatar
po.
Care. Oo. So, ikaw na chairman sa sa ISEP
Ano
na tayo, no?
As ISEP, so ito yung organization, Institute of Electronics Engineers of the Philippines. Ang governor namin ay si Engineer Kensley Armon Manisi. So shout out na rin yun, Brad, ha? And the next
Next is si PhilRac natin.
PhilRac is Philippine Radiographers Association Qatar.
Si Mr. Primo Pagdato. Affect natin yung mga magagaling natin mga teachers dyan. So si Ma'am Cleofe Macaraig Pascual.
Association of Filipino Educators Qatar.
Yung PhilArpQ natin, ayan, yung ating poging presidente, si Mr. Gaison Pastoral.
So PhilArp is Filipino Association of Respiratory Practitioners in Qatar.
Next natin is yung GAPQ, Engineer Mervin Bidanya.
So GEPQ is Geodetic Engineers of the Philippines, Qatar.
Ang FDOC natin, Dr. Christian Marvin de la Cruz.
Philippine Dentist
Then,
Philippine Dentist Organization in Qatar, FDOC.
yes, then si INDAP natin, si Ma'am Michelle Calapano.
Nutritionist, dietitians. So dito kayo sa kanila slim.
Oh, ayan, andyan yung last natin na organization, yung IPAW, yung very active natin na si Dr. Jane Cecil Kadag.
For the
Oo.
optometrists naman.
Optometrist, oo.
Integrated Philippine Association of Optometrists.
Ayan, yun po yung mga 14 strong organizations natin ng under PPOQ.
But hearing from you po, meron pang mga iba sigurong mga certain what I call these professions na hindi kasama. Is there like still a possibility that there will be more organizations being a member of PPOQ?
Yes, actually yun ang natin ngayon, yun ang program natin na madagdagan yung members natin sa
I see.
Philippine Professional Organization Qatar. So mas marami, mas maganda po yan, no? At least we are aiming na more members.
Yes. Paano po maging member ng PPO, Sir Adonis?
Mag-ano lang sila, magsulat sila sa PPOQ, yung intention nila na magpa-member sila sa PPOQ.
So the organization na existing na nila ng mga professionals na yun.
Yes po. So I think yung isa sa mga requirement po ng PPOQ for you to be part of the organization, dapat po may mother organization po tayo sa Pilipinas.
I see.
Then followed by dapat meron kayo ditong mga takers, yung mga examinees. So yun po kasi ang main natin program po ng PPOQ
Okay.
is yung sa SPLE.
Okay.
So dapat may examinees kayo and then i-deliberate yon by the previous chairman ng organization.
Right.
Then most probably yun nga kung
That's
yun
good to know. Kasi actually, ang susunod ko pong tatanungin sana is paano kung halimbawa meron kang organization dito. Like for example, yung mga hindi naman kailangan ng ng examination from PRC. Like for example, may mga journalists din tayo dito sa Qatar. Hindi naman sila kumukuha ng exam sa Philippines to be a journalist.
Correct.
So kung may grupo sila dito, yung tatanong ko po dapat kung pwede sila mag-join. So from what I understand, hindi po sila magiging part of the organization because they are required na kailangan may mga test takers who will
Yes,
be
correct po.
uh,
Pero it doesn't mean naman na hindi sila pwedeng ma-involve kasi we
I see.
have some programs. So may
Okay.
mga programs kami, may mga projects where we can, collaborate with the other organizations na not a member of the
Right.
PPOQ.
Right. Thank you for bringing that up. Actually, yung susunod ko kasi na is to understand ano po ba talaga yung mga objectives din apart from of course being able to allow yung mga professionals, Filipino professionals dito na makapag-exam ng PRC, mga licensure examinations. Ano pa po yung ibang objectives of the group apart from that? Sir Adonis.
Idagdag ko lang sa previous kanina. Yung SPLE, importante yun, lalo na dito sa Qatar na hindi ka na makatake ng yung sa engineering registry sa MUP kung wala kang PRC ID.
Right,
So,
right.
para ma-register ka na engineer sa Qatar. So, going back sa tanong na mga objectives. So, collaborate and interact with embassy as advice and when a need arises. So, isa yan sa objective ng PPOQ.
And of course, to collaborate with other organizations nga. Yung sinasabi ko sa iyo kanina na yun, ang ano namin is for us to have a program, kung like for example, like our yesterday's event. So,
Yesterday po.
we have an event yesterday, a webinar, free webinar. So, ang ginawa namin, we are not just focusing on the PPOQ. We collaborated also with the other organizations like Hero and Bayanihan.
Right.
So,
Actually, kasama din po namin si Sir Adonis dito 2 weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken, for the together with our labor attaché, former labor attaché, Mr. David Dikang, and we were talking about one of the projects that you had with Polo Owa. And ayun po yung bagong kanta natin na pinapatugtog.
Pilipino
ano?
ka.
Tama yung no, RJ, no? Nabanggit mo, nagmi-message si labor attaché na i-greet din natin.
Ayan, yung pinakamamahal
Sir Des,
natin. Sir Des, we miss you here in Qatar.
Magandang umaga na po sa Pilipinas,
umaga na po.
12:30 na.
nanonood
12:30
siya,
na.
nanonood.
So, yun po, like marami talagang natutulungan ang PPOQ. So, ano ko lang, no, elaborate ko lang, like for example, for the nurses. We have graduates from the Philippines na andito, parang napalihis yung career nila. Like for example, we have some cashiers. So, mga cashiers, mga home care. So, doon tayo pumapasok kasi we should not end their career being a cashier or being ano. So, binibigyan natin sila ng career path. So, ang ginagawa natin, ginaguide natin until makapag-license sila.
Right.
Oo, so marami na po tayong natulungan dyan. Marami ngayong mga nurses from dati, cashier, pero ngayon nasa Hamad na nagtatrabaho, nasa PHCC na. Yes, so yung ganong program na
Kasi
marami
nung pumunta po sila dito, no, hindi pa sila makapag-practice dahil wala pa sila nung PRC license. But
PRC
now,
license,
through this particular initiative of PPO together with Polo Owa and PRC, they can now take their exams here and
Yes.
pwede na makapagtrabaho sa nurse.
as a nurse.
That's
So,
good to know.
yun, ang dami na natin mga passers and they are now a full-fledged nurses.
Wow, that's good to know. That's good to know. Marami tayong natutulungan. So, regarding po dun sa mga objectives natin, no? So, we are saying kasi na we are having examinations on on a yearly basis. But from last year kasi, during the time of the pandemic, even for the licensure examinations sa Philippines have been either postponed or have been canceled. So how does this affect the examinations here in Qatar po?
Yun nga, ang dami naming inquiries na nare-receive. Not just the nurses from the other field of other organizations din, and even the other organizations nga nakapag-conduct na sila ng reviews from last year pa, yun nga lang dahil na postponed. And hopefully kung if everything settled or maging normal, a new normal nga. So, hopefully, we are hoping na, yun nga, by end of the year, kung hindi man early next year, kasi ang dami po, like for example, sa mga nurses natin, lalo na nakailangan talaga ngayon ng mga nurses. So, yun, konting tiis lang, and we are really hoping na soon, yun ang PRC, magawan ng paraan.
That's good to know. That's good to know. Kasi nga, ang dami ngayon, na naudlot ang kanilang pagkuha ng exam because of what's happening.
Yeah.
Actually, hindi lang naman para sa ating mga Pilipino, but worldwide, I mean, everyone has been affected. So, I'm hoping that soon ay makapag-exam na ulit ang ating mga
ang daming
potential na mga
praying for that na soon na makapag
Actually,
conduct tayo
sa nurses po, parang ilang exams na yata yung na-postpone or cancel, parang 3 na po po ata ng schedule, ano? So, nakakalungkot. But hopefully, this year, something will happen at makapag-exam na ulit. I've heard meron din po kayong projects that you collaborate with, for trainings for those who are in grade 12. Tama po ba?
So, ano yan, ongoing yan ngayon. Ang tawag ng program na yon is Career Simulation Seminar Workshop.
I
So,
see.
in partnership yan sa PPO and PSD, yung Philippine School of Doha. So, it started 2017. So, 2017 nag-start yun. So, instead of yung OJT sa mga grade 12, which is hindi siya pwede dito sa Qatar, mandate yan ng DepEd. So instead of pupunta sila doon sa OJT, nag-conduct na lang ng career simulation
Career
seminar.
simulation
I
seminar.
see. That's good to know. Lalo na sa mga kabataan, napaka-importante nito.
Ang dami naming, actually sa nurses, pinagmamalaki ko ang mga nurses. We have 62 students under sa Philippine Nurses Association Qatar.
Madami pa din talagang gusto mag-nurse, ano?
Oo, ang dami.
So ang ang session is all about sa profession, kung anong pinipili ng estudyante. So iba-ibang field or career na pinipili nila. Then parang magsisimulate kung anong ginagawa nila sa actual na field instead of going to on the job training.
That's good to know. Kasi
and then-
masyadong marami po sa atin, kabilang ako dyan. Nung bata pa, growing up kasi parang karamihan sa atin hindi talaga din nag-guide kung ano ba talagang magiging
Gusto mong career,
mangyari. Parang kumbaga ang nangyayari pa nung time dati, this is way back in the 90s kasi 90s na bata pa ako. Parang kung ano yung ma-influensyahan ka ng kabarkada, makukuha tayo ng ganito, ganyan. So, but yung pagkakaroon ng awareness kung ano talaga yung magiging trabaho mo eventually at kung saan ka talaga mag-excel, hindi masyadong natututukan before. So it's good to know that we have this kind of program for our mga high school students dito sa Qatar.
And hopefully, soon, may project din yan ang PPOQ to extend nga yan sa Pilipinas.
Wow,
So,
that's good.
yeah.
It's good to know. Mabalik lang po ako dun sa kanina. Kasi we were talking about memberships and yung mga iba-ibang organizations. Ang PPO po ba may control with the organizations that are involved dun sa 14 or this is just really a separate these are different organizations working, just collaborating on one thing? Or I guess my question is there like an influence that PPO has over the member organizations po nung inyong pinaka-parent organization, which is PPO?
Okay, so ang PPO nabuo to through its MOU, Memorandum of Agreement, para sa isang objective, sinasabi kanina.
Right.
But it doesn't have hindi siya dapat mag-interfere sa internal na mga affairs sa mga organization.
Okay. So kung ano po yung ginagawa nung isang, like for example, the nurses organization, separate po yan sa kung anong magiging activities din at mga ginagawa na. It just so happen na kayo ang PPO is the one facilitating yung mga exams. Mga ganun. Alright.
Yung goal lang namin about sa SPLA, we are one for that. But the other activities, separate entities po tayo, ang iba't ibang
Right.
organizations.
But I'm just wondering po, how do you select, now, since you are officers, how are the officers selected? Kasi kung botohan, iniisip ko lang, kung halimbawa magkakaroon ng botohan, paano kung maboto lahat ng nandoon sa officers, lahat from, let's say, peak pa, parang hindi ba parang well represented yung dapat iba-ibang how do we select po yung mga officers po
Ayan,
of
si
PPO?
chairman ang sasagot niyan.
Okay. So, ang chairmanship ng PPO, depending siya sa joining date ng organization sa grupo. And
Okay.
it will be rotation. So, one after the other every year magpalit yung chairmanship sa grupo. And once na ang organization ang next na in line, the organization will nominate the chairman from that particular group, and it is subject to acceptance of the PPOQ organization.
That's good to know.
And to add to that kasi
Treasurer ka?
treasurer ako. So I am coming from the previous leadership, chairmanship. So prior before sa ISEP, Philippine Nurses Association po, under the leadership of chairmanship of Mr. Sergio Caras. So kami po yung last year.
Okay.
Kaya kung sino man ang previous na chairmanship, ikaw yung magiging treasurer for the next
Next year.
next year.
Right now po, sa mga activities niyo siguro, are there like seminars that you have for different professionals or sa iba-ibang professional organizations na po ito? Like for example, kung halimbawa gusto ng seminar for nurses, edi nurses lang. Or meron din po bang ginagawa ang PPO particularly for this subset of organizations?
Yung last Friday.
Yung kahapon namin, it's a collaboration between all the medical organizations.
I see, okay.
So from Philippine Nurses Association Qatar, andyan yung respiratory therapist natin, andyan yung nutritionist natin, ang IPAW. So, nag-collaborate kami.
That's good.
And of course, nag-collaborate din kami sa outside namin, like yung Hero Qatar and Bayanihan. So, nag-formulate kami ng isang program which is yung Together Fighting COVID-19. Kasi yun, kaya namin yan na-formulate yung program na yan dahil from the Philippine Nurses Association, ang dami naming inquiries na na-receive about yung mga concerns ng mga kababayan natin na apektado sa pandemic. So, instead of calling us, naggumawa na kami ng isang seminar na address for those concerns.
Okay. That's good to know po. And I'm sure not only for medical professionals but mga engineers meron din yan.
Meron din.
Yes. Right now po, because we are going to be discussing about the programs that you have had in the past few months or even a year ago, and then what are the things that are in line for this year and maybe up until next year. So we will be joined in by two other officers of PPO a little later. But before we go on break, I would just like to ask if is there anything that you would like to add po for our viewers, lalo na actually hindi lang viewers and listeners, because we are live on the radio right now at 94.3 here in Qatar and also on Facebook sa ating Facebook page. So is there like any message that you would want to leave our listeners and viewers po?
Ano lang siguro, ma'am, pa-shout out ng mga former chairman.
Ay, sige po.
Kasi sila ang
Ayan, yung mga natin, yung mga
wisdom nila, important.
yung mga wag naman nakakatanda, no? Pero yung mga previous chairman natin, PPOQ chairman, si Dr. Rinaldo Castillo, Engineer Eric Garcia, Architect Isais Tabuzo, Engineer Robert Mabulay, Mr. Lyndon Magsino, Mr. Frank Hamandre, Engineer Jenard Aller, Engineer Gerald Managilod, Architect Michael Nino Garcia. Sir Miggy, good evening po. Engineer Voltaire Caberos, Sir Jem Martabili, my best kuya, Sergio Caras, and yan, ang sa akin naman si Ma'am Gretel, Sir Peach, Weng, Vesa, Michelle, Arian, yung mga Philippine Nurses Association Qatar, anak ko dyan, yung mga nurses natin, pasaludo ako dyan. And Sir Resi, papasama si Sir Resi kanina.
Chairman Henry.
Chairman Henry. Qatar Care, Prime Care, Dr. Alvin. Good evening
Dr.
po.
Alvin Abainsa po.
Abainsa,
A good friend,
opo, oo. Ayan, then my husband and of course my family in the Philippines.
Maraming salamat po,
Ayan
Miss
po.
Rose. Sir Adonis, do you have something to say po?
Baka naghintay.
Or batiin po.
Ay, ayan,
din.
padagdag ako, yung anak ko nakikinig, Lud Jane, si Ate Cyril and Gina. Ayan.
So, si Happy, yung asawa ko, para may yung dalawa kong anak, na andito, si Gaynel at Gian, and yung isa doon sa Pinas nag-aaral, si Aduna. And then si Mama at yung mga kapatid ko, Dayday and Junjun. And yung ISEP, yung dalawang susunod, sila na ang magbati sa inyong lahat.
Alright.
Ayan.
Thank you very much po ulit sa pagsama sa amin ngayong gabi nito. And of course, we're still going to learn more about your organization through your other two officers na mga kasama din po natin later. So right now, I would just like to say to our listeners and viewers online that we are going to go back after this very short break. Pag-uusapan natin mamaya ano nga ba ang mga programa na natapos na at magkakaroon pa ang PPO. So just keep it locked in only here at Usapang Qabayan, here at Qabayan Radio 94.3. Just keep it locked in here. Good evening. Qabayan Radio 94.3. We are back here on the 10th episode of Usapang Qabayan. And of course, earlier we were talking about yung background of the Philippine Professional Organization in Qatar, and as well as ano ba yung mga objectives nila. So we were joined in earlier by their chairman, Mr. Adonis Talabo, and their treasurer, Ms. Mary Rose Uy. Right now, we are being joined in by our two other officers from PPO. Our first guest is the secretary of the Philippine Professional Organization. He is a licensed professional electronics engineer and an ASEAN engineer and ASEAN chartered professional engineer. He is the 2019 Governor of the Institute of Electronics Engineers of the Philippines, or ISEP Qatar chapter. He is a member of the CCTV Code of the Philippine Technical Working Group, and he is currently working as an engineer or engineering manager for Gulf Bridge International. Thank you very much for joining us, at magandang gabi po, Engineer Jaime Fortaliza.
Magandang gabi, RJ Renzo, and magandang gabi sa mga kabayan radio followers in Qatar, across the globe. Thank you for having me here and for your program.
Yeah, we are very happy to have you here as well po.
Thank
And
you.
also joining us for tonight is the secretary as well of the Philippine Professional Organization Qatar. He is a professional electronics engineer, ASEAN engineer, and ASEAN chartered professional engineer. He is the 2020 ISEP Outstanding Electronics of the Year, or Electronics Engineer of the Year siguro to, no? And then he is also the 2019 Governor of the Institute of, or 2018 Governor of the Institute of Electronics Engineer of the Philippines Qatar chapter. He is also a member of the CCTV Code of the Philippine Technical Working Group. He is an overseas Filipino investor and entrepreneur movement member, or yung OFM. Guest natin sila last week. And then also a member of the Oriental Mindoreños Association Qatar. He is currently working as a senior deployment and field services engineer for Airbus Defense and Space. Thank you very much for joining us, at magandang gabi po ulit, Engineer Sherwin Cramo Rica Flanca.
Good evening, RJ Kenzo, and good evening sa lahat ng mga listeners ng Qabayan Radio, no? Thank you for having us here.
Maraming salamat din po. First and foremost, gusto ko lang po magtanong, medyo na-curious kasi ako with the designation that you have. Kasi si Sir Jaime ay First Secretary of PPO, and si Sir Sherry naman ay Second Secretary of PPO. Is it really a thing to have two secretaries at the same time? Medyo na-curious lang po.
Okay lang po.
Mista ako nasasagot, no? So actually, hindi yun customary, no, na magkaroon ng two secretaries. But yung ating chairman, masyado siyang maraming vision, marami siyang gustong magawa, no? So he requested na magkaroon ng dalawang secretary para yung mga vision niya, yung mga projects niya na gusto na ma-implement, magkaroon ng focus, no? Matutukan natin na mas maganda kung kasi kung mas maraming tumutulong, mas maganda yung implementation ng programs. Yun po.
Of course, you're having more brains, diba? In one particular group, lalo na sa leadership, mas maganda, mas madaming brains ang meron para mas malawak ang ating napag-uusapan at naging accomplishments din.
Tama po. Tama.
So, before we went on a break po kanina, nung kasama po natin si Sir Adonis and si Ma'am Rose, sabi po natin ay pag-uusapan natin ang mga naging activities at mga magiging future activities ng PPO. So, I would like to check, ano po yung mga naging activities na of PPO?
So, simulan ko na. Currently, no, mayroon tayong ongoing project with PSD, yung Philippine School Doha, called Career Simulation and Seminars Workshop, to assist yung mga grade 12 students natin. Kasi ang requirement sa kanila is to have an OJT, no? And since nandito tayo sa Qatar, wala tayong hindi sila makakapag-OJT.
Right.
So the PSD together with the PPO develop this program, no, to assist the kids or the students na magkaroon sila ng simulation about their chosen career. So since ang PPO is a professional organization na marami na composed ng iba-ibang professionals, no, ito yung magandang partner, no, ng PSD to give the students a brief and at least some overview of the chosen career path for them, no? Kaya
Okay.
yun po yun.
Nakakatuwa kasi actually kanina may impression ako nung kausap ko sina Sir Adonis at sina Ma'am Rose. I was just thinking parang mag-a-attend lang ng tipong ikling seminar yung mga kabataan natin just to guide them sa pagpili ng career. But from what I'm learning now is that you're saying na meron talagang programa for them na instead of them going on the job training, which is a requirement for their school at PSD ay meron kayong particular program para sa kanila.
Yes.
Gaano kahaba po yung program na yon?
Yung program is 9 weeks, 9 Fridays, no, conducted in 9 Fridays. And each profession merong talagang programa na ipini-prepare. For example, ang mga medical professions, no, meron silang mga dalang dummy for the simulating yung mga CPR, ganyan. And for us naman na mga electronics engineers, meron kaming mga breadboards, meron kaming electronics components na pinapakita sa mga students para magkaroon sila ng familiarization kung ano yung mga ginagawa ng isang electronics engineers. Same thing with the other professions, no? And yung ngayon nga lang kasi dahil ng
During
pandemic,
COVID, yeah.
medyo nagkaroon tayo ng difficulty. So ang nangyari is talagang simulation na lang via online, no? Pinapakita natin, pinapa-familiarize natin sila with regards to the profession, no?
Pero I guess prior to pandemic, they get to join and put their hands on,
Yes,
no?
yes.
Na sa may mga activities kayo na binibigay para sa kanila. Which is nakakatuwa. So ano po yung mga klase ng mga pwede nilang pasukin na what do you call this, simulation? Kasi nabanggit niyo po kanina, we have for engineers and we have for nurses. Ano pa po yung ibang mga simulation na pwede po nilang makapag-participate in?
Actually, di ba yung sagutin ko na? Sorry. Yung
Sige po, kahit sino po sa inyo.
yung streams natin, di ba, sa grade 12 is yung HUMS, and then I think yung HUMS at saka yung medical.
Right.
Yun yung pinagsama yung sa STEM, no? And then engineering, and then architecture, and then business. So
Right.
yung business naman yung sa PIC pa naman yung nag-handle. So lahat ng business related courses or professions nasa PIC pa. And then lahat
Pinagagawa sila ng mga audit, ano? Hindi, biro lang. Pinapagsubok kung kaya nila mag-audit.
Tama po, tama.
So that's good to know. So apart from this particular career simulation seminar workshop that we have for the high school students na papagraduate, ano pa po yung mga iba nating mga programs, Sir Sherwin?
So the next program
yes.
that natapos na yung blood donation drive.
Yes,
We believe donating blood will save life.
Okay.
So ito yung isa sa mga advocacy ng PPOK. So it was happened on February 19, and ang nagdo-donate po it was around 50 persons.
Okay.
So gagawin namin to in a quarterly basis. So we will encourage everyone na to donate blood.
Okay.
Kasi ang sabi ko nga kanina na it will save lives.
Okay.
So
So ito po sa donation drive na po na ito, is it the required na part po kayo ng PPO or ng umbrella organizations, yung mga professional organizations po, or anyone can just go and participate sa...
anyone po. Anyone na gustong mag-donate, like for example in the Bayanihan organization and Hero, kung gusto nila mag-donate, they should coordinate with us through PPOQ.
Okay.
And then PPOQ coordinate with the Hamad hospitals po.
I see. That's good to know.
Yeah.
Saka yung mga friends ng members, no?
Right.
Friends and relatives ng members ng PPO organizations, pwede din sumama.
Sir Jaime, tama nga po ba? The last time that we had this particular drive was in February po?
February 19.
Okay. So kakatapos lang pala. No?
Kakatapos
Is there any upcoming donation drive po ulit?
Expected namin by June.
I see.
This
Okay.
coming June, yeah.
So it's like a
Quarterly basis.
quarterly. So 4 times a year.
Yeah, 4
So
times.
apart from the blood donation drive po, ano pa po yung iba po nating naging programs?
Okay. So yung last Feb 26, no, ini-launch natin yung music video na Pilipino Ka, di
Yes.
ba? So thank you nga pala sa Kabayan, no. So patuloy yung pagpapatugtog ng music music na Pilipino Ka. Very inspiring siya kasi gawa siya ng isang isang kasamahan natin ng OFW dito sa
Yes,
Qatar, si Sir Dex Tumang. And then at the same time, no, nagkaroon na ng handover. Doon namin ginawa yung handover ceremony between the previous chairman to the incoming chairmanship.
I see, okay. So ito yung event, ayun nga, nung Feb 26. So apart from launching yung bagong kanta and MTV,
Yes.
that was also the time na nagkaroon ng change of chairmanship
Yes
within
po.
PPO. That's good to know. Maganda. Kasi actually, we were having Sir David Desdicang dito,
Yes.
our former labor attaché, and earlier si chairman din nakasama namin 2 weeks ago discussing about this particular song. And we are very happy kasi it really is a very timely release of the song because during this whole pandemic thing, a lot of us have felt na parang
Stress, no?
Yes, stress, problema sa health.
Oo.
Siyempre natatakot din tayo lang baka magkasakit, hindi lang tayo but more importantly our families, and then pati trabaho natin nakakatakot.
Totoo yan.
So the song itself ay actually may mga kasama akong RJ. Nung narinig nga daw nila, kinikilabutan sila. Lalo na si RJ Georgie kasi she was the MC also of that particular event. Sabi niya, kinikilabutan daw siya nung narinig niya yung kanta. So it was really an inspiring thing to have. Yung launching po na yan and yung kanta po na yun. And then apart from this new song po, ano pa po yung iba nating activities with PPO?
The next before I go to next activity,
Yes, po.
just to add on to the music launching,
Yes, po.
that music was composed to inspire the OFW. You know, kasi alam naman natin na we are very far away from our families. Na nandito tayo and for the benefits of our family.
Opo. And actually nakakatawa kasi it was not only composed by one person, it was not produced just by one person, but it's a collective effort from PPO, from Bayanihan, and among many other organizations in Qatar.
Yes.
Not only like that, it was supported by the Department of Labor and Employment as well as the polo agencies. So
Tsaka Dole po, may endorsement.
kasama ang Dole. And there was also a message from our President Duterte.
Yes. Sir Jaime, kasama po ba kayo dun sa mga komentador? Bigla ko lang naisip. Kasi ang daming I don't know if I can remember correctly, pero ang intindi ko, there were 200 artists who were part of recording that particular song.
Kasama kami sa background.
Actually, RJ, kumanta kami lahat, nakamute nga lang.
Kanina lang po yung naka-on. Mga ilan nila lang po yung naka-on, ano? Anyway,
Okay.
yeah, thank you for that additional input po, Sir Jaime. But again, yung dun, apart from this launching of the music video, ano pa po yung iba nating activities?
So, yesterday natapos namin yung isang webinar po, ang title ng webinar, Together Against COVID-19. It was a pre-webinar na alam naman natin na it is almost more than a year na ang COVID-19 natin. So, ang mga speakers natin ay galing po sa Hamad and we want to educate our fellow kabayans, ano ba ang COVID-19, saan nanggaling, ano ang impact nito. At the same time, na-explain po kung bakit kailangan ng vaccine. At saka paano i-handle yung stress. Kasi maraming nawalan ng trabaho dahil sa COVID.
Right.
So it was a good webinar and we're planning to do it again for part to maybe in a couple of months.
Right. Okay, that's good to know. Kasi nga ngayon, ang hirap talaga ng
Ang
sitwasyon.
hirap.
Oo,
And,
totoo.
and lahat tayo, kailangan talaga natin magtulong-tulong just to
Tama
really
po.
fight this virus. Hindi natin nakikita, pero sobrang nakaka-apekto sa ating lahat.
Yes.
But we'll be just going on a short break, and then after we go on a break, we'll be discussing more about the activities that you have in your pipeline as an organization. So I would like to ask our listeners to just keep it locked in only here at Usapang Qabayan. We will be back shortly for this after this very short break. Thank you. Qabayan Radio 94.3. It is now 11 or 8:11 in the evening, and of course we are still being joined in by our guests from the Philippine Professional Organization Qatar. We have with us Mr. Jaime Fortaliza and Mr. Sherwin Ricaflanca discussing about the activities that they had recently as an organization, no? And right now I would like to ask Sir Jaime, ano pa po yung mga naka-pipeline natin na activities for your organization and sa iba pang mga organizations involved in PPO?
Okay. So, ulitin ko lang yung sinabi ni Ma'am Rose kanina. So, President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo signed the Executive Order number 835 series of 2009 directing the Philippine Regulation Commissions and all the government agency in coordination with the DOLE and POLO to conduct a yearly SPLA exam. SPLA meaning Special Professional Examination. So ito ay ginagawa once a year. So ang ginagawa namin as an organizations, we have to prepare the applicants, the examinee. So it is
yung review po nila.
Yung review nila. So pinapa-review namin sila. Minsan kami nagtuturo at minsan through online din.
Okay. So is this an initiative po ng PPO? Kasi ang nasa isip ko kanina, kapag ganitong mga review na, kanya-kanya ng organization yun. Kasi,
yes, kanya-kanyang organization. So kami, like for example, in the electronics engineering org, ang mga applicant namin, kami rin ang nagre-review.
Pero it has also some support from the PPO.
Yes.
Okay.
So ngayon, ginagawa namin, 10 months piniprepare namin sa review para once na magkaroon ng exam, they are fully equipped. Kasi minsan may mga kabayan tayo na matagal nang hindi nakapag-exam at matagal na nang graduate. Like for example, 10 years na, 15 years na, 8 years, and there are few only na fresh graduate. So, ibig sabihin, kinalawang na yung nalalaman nila back in college. So at the same time, nowadays, yung techniques is totally different. So kailangan equip sila, prepared sila, na pag dumating yung exam, kailangan makapasa sila.
Yes po.
Ang rason naman natin bakit natin in-encourage sila to take the exam and to have the PRC license kasi ngayon ang Qatar, the UPDA, the Urban Planning Development Authority, na once you are working in the construction industry or the as a consultant, nire-require nila ng UPDA license. So before you got the UPDA license, kailangan meron kang PRC license. It's a prerequisite.
Right.
At the same time, pwede ka mag-practice back in Philippines. Kaya in-encourage namin sila na please, it is an opportunity. Grab the opportunity to take the exam. Kasi ang PRC na mismo ang pumunta ng Qatar.
Right.
Na para bigyan kayo ng exam. At the same time, nagbibigay din kami ng review. We give them all the resources. It's up to them na lang how they will prepare themselves.
Right.
Yun ang ginagawa namin.
Napaka-importante po na ito, no? Kasi lalo na yung mga kababayan natin na umalis sa Philippines na hindi pa nakakakuha na, kasi kinailangan ng agad magtrabaho at mag-abroad, ano? So hindi na nakapag-exam. Yung iba naman, they were unsuccessful on their first attempt, tapos siguro nawala ng gana, no? I mean, medyo kinabahan na, no? Tapos hindi na ulit nag-exam. Pero ngayon, pwedeng-pwede sila ulit mag-exam. Kahit nandito sila sa Qatar.
Kahit nandito sa Qatar.
That's good to know.
That opportunity is already in the nasa window na or nasa door na nila.
Yes po.
So we encourage them to grab that opportunity.
And then this runs for 10 months po na bawat
10 months po because we want them to fully equip. Kailangan alam nila yung mathematics, yung electronics subject or communication subject or other discipline na once na mag-exam sila, kumbaga patas-patas ba.
Saka yung opportunity for review is weekends lang eh. And ang weekends natin normally Friday lang kasi yung iba nagsa-Saturday work na. So kaya medyo mas matagal tayo compared sa review sa Pilipinas kasi daily sila eh.
apart from this particular review, no, kasi may mga iba naman nakatapos na, nakakapasa sa license exam. Of course, meron tong mga mini-maintain na credits, di ba? May parang kailangan nila may
CPD.
yes, mga CPDs so that they can maintain having their license.
Yes.
So what programs do you have for that?
So in our discipline, in the electronics engineering discipline, we will give them a technical seminars. So nagbibigay kami ng seminars 4 to 6 times a year. So yun ang binibigay namin kasi para magkaroon sila ng pag nag-expire yung lisensya nila, pwede na sila mag-renew kasi kailangan ng CPD points.
I see.
At the same time, it's a one way of how to equip to elevate yung nila, yung level of knowledge.
And kasama po dito yung pagkakaroon ng mga webinars natin ngayon, ano?
Yes po. Yes.
And RJ, no,
Yes po.
regarding that, idugtong ko na. So, yung CPD is normally responsibility ng bawat organizations. Pero ang chairman natin ngayon, meron tayong plano na mag-conduct tayo din ng mga webinars naman na pagsasama-samahin lahat ng So, ang ating engineering cluster and architecture cluster will join forces to conduct a series naman for building services,
Okay.
no. So kasi ang ating building ngayon very complicated, kumbaga. Maraming involved na professions na nandyan. So from architecture sa design to the structural sa civil hanggang sa lahat ng building automation ay ipapasok na natin. So magkakaroon tayo ng isang full blown webinar series na composed ng different organizations in the engineering and architecture cluster.
Actually, nakakatawa kasi dati kanya-kanya tong kanya-kanyang initiative to ng bawat
Kanya-kanyang
org.
initiative, yes.
But now, through PPO, nagkakaroon ng collaboration then between organizations, no?
Tama po.
And which is actually mas nakakatawa kasi mas maraming malalaman ang mga attendees ng
Yes, yung awareness natin.
Yes.
Ano ba nasa building na to, 'di ba? Bakit bakit na kailangan na ng isang electronics engineer diyan wala naman diyan electronics. Pero ang building ngayon kasi automated na, 'di ba?
Yes.
Ang dami ng control system na nasa loob ng building.
Right.
So ayun, kaya tayo nasasali na diyan.
Sir Jaime, you would like...
Just to add on lang kay Mr. Sherwin, 10 years ago or 15 years ago, pag tumayo yung building dyan, sasabihin lang, merong architect dyan, merong civil, merong electrical and mechanical. But nowadays, meron na siyang electronics engineer. Kasi sabi nga ni Sherwin, most likely inside the building is low voltage now and fully automated. Kaya meron na siyang electronics engineer.
Because of the technology talaga.
Because of the technology.
Yeah.
So electronics engineer drive the technology.
So, kailan po yung mga susunod nating mga webinars na yan? Or is this going to be kasi kaya ako natanong kung webinar kasi as an RJ ay every time we go on board may mga announcements kami ng mga webinars for
definitely RJ, pagka na natin to na plancha na natin to, definitely papadala namin sa kabayan ng ang announcement.
Sure.
Para ma-announce na mas maganda, mas maraming ma-reach tayo na attendance, no.
Sure. We will be happy to support you sa ganito pong bagay. Kasi
Maraming
naman,
salamat.
Qabayan Radio is a Filipino community radio station.
Yes.
And we also want to give back to our community. And part of that is, of course, through PPO and among many other initiatives. So,
Yes.
yeah, definitely we'll be supporting you on that. But
Thank
is
you.
there like any other project that you have on the pipeline right now?
Yes po. So the next project namin is the career simulations workshop. We want to extend it to Philippines
Yes.
through webinar.
Okay.
So ang gagawin namin kasi magkakanda kami ng webinar, we call it career guidance sa mga national high school. So our participant for this is the national high school and the attendees is mga grade 10.
Okay.
So we want to open their mind na ang purpose nito is to open their mind kung ano ba yung course nila na kukunin pag nag-college na sila. So for example, kasi dati in my time hindi ko alam bakit electronics ang kinuha ko, electronic engineering. So we will open their mind na pag ang kinuha mo na course, for example,
Ganito ang
is
gagawin mo.
electronics engineering, ang magiging 12 mo is 1, telecommunication,
Right.
2 is the electronics manufacturing, 3 is the
Sa
ICT,
broadcast. Oh.
and also broadcasting. For example, kung kukuha ka ng nursing, di for sure nasa medical field ka. So yun pa lang, bibigyan na namin sila ng i-open na namin yung mind nila. We will enlighten them that this is the following course and this is your field of work pag natapos kayo.
At hindi lang basta theoretical lang malalaman nila, kapag ka nurse ka, malalaman nila from the nurses themselves.
Yes, yung
Kung ano
experience.
talagang ginagawa on a daily basis, ano?
Yes.
So
So,
that
ang
they-
gagawin namin doon, lahat ng 14 PPOQ members, bibigyan namin ng time to share their experience. Like for example, 15 minutes or 30 minutes or 10 to 15 minutes.
Right. Pero
So-
thank you po for clarifying, ano? Sorry, is there anything that you would like to add?
Okay, you
Hindi,
can go ahead.
thank you for clarifying na yung pag-extend sa Philippines ay para dun sa mga national high schools, ano? Kasi
Yes.
kanina nung nabanggit itong simulation na to, ang nasa impression ko is dadalhin din siya sa Philippines primarily kasi maraming mga estudyante na from PSD na naka-umuwi na din sa Pilipinas dahil because of the pandemic and all the things that had happened. Marami kasing students from PSD na umuwi na din. So I thought the reason on why it will be brought to the Philippines is para ma-reach sila. But from what I understand now from Sir Jaime is that we would want to open more doors. We would want to
Yes.
kumbaga to be involved more sa Philippines.
Oo.
Yes.
Kasi yung idagdag ko lang no RJ, kasi yung especially yung mga tina-target natin ng mga high school, yung mga medyo malayo, yung mga
Yes, po.
wala silang opportunity na malaman ano ba yung mga courses, ano ba yung mga opportunities na pwede nating makuha, di ba? Kasi ang for example, yung mga ngayon pandemic, so lahat online, di ba? So ito yung good opportunity para mabigyan natin sila ng chance naman na magkaroon ng overview sa mga professionals, no, sa professions na available for them. Hindi
Right,
lang hindi lang kung ano yung masabi, 'di ba, ng nanay niya or ng tatay niya, 'di ba? So ino-open natin to sa grade 10 kasi may streams kasi, 'di ba?
Yes,
So
po.
at least before 11 and 12 meron sila ng tamang stream sa gusto
Right.
nila, 'di ba?
Okay, that's good to know. Kasi marami nga talaga sa atin, lalo na kapag ka-teenager ka pa, mga 15 years old ka, ano ba talagang gagawin ko? Hindi ko rin naman.
Di ba?
Kahit ako nung kabataan, parang
Pag
gusto mo
sinabi
lang
ng
mag-enjoy pa, di ba? Ngayon kailangan mo nang piliin at mag-decide anong maging gusto mo for the rest of your life.
Yes.
Tama po.
Ang hirap na decision. So it's good to know that you are having this kind of initiative. Pero matanong ko lang po, isn't there anything like this that is already being conducted by certain government agencies in the Philippines? And how do you do it or how would you do it eventually in the Philippines? Is it going to be in collaboration din po with the Department of Education? Or
Yes, ang gagawin namin dyan is we will collaborate sa principal ng school or sa head ng region na yan.
Okay.
And then magpapadala kami ng letter na this is our intention. Na,
Kasi yung ang sa Pilipinas ngayon, ang mga career simulations is normally done by the universities.
Right.
So, kung walang access si university sa'yo, medyo mahirapan ka na magkaroon ng ganong klase ng program, di ba?
Lalo na kung mga nasa probinsya po,
Oo.
medyo liblib ang
kaya ang target namin dito is the National High School.
I see. Okay. That's good to know. So apart from this po, is there like any other projects on your pipeline that will be happening anytime soon or within this year?
Actually,
Or
anytime...
nabanggit na po ata kanina, no?
Etong nasa pipeline natin is program for the year, no? So for the chairmanship of Engineer Adonis.
Okay.
So we are also moving out nung sa natin na SPLE lang ang ating main focus. So we're also already moving out of that na gusto na natin makipag-collaborate din sa ibang
Right.
organizations, sa mga businesses, companies para magkaroon ng mas malaki yung reach natin sa at mas maraming opportunity may bigay natin sa mga members.
So you will be partnering po with mga companies dito sa Qatar?
We will try to yung alam mo yung for example discount sa maxes or yung mga ganong klase para mabigay natin na sa benefit, no,
Right.
or medical
Right.
insurance, something like that, na hindi natin alam, but we
Yeah,
are looking
actually,
into
that's a very good opportunity.
a lot of other opportunities.
Right.
Yes.
Actually, that's good for business themselves
Yes.
to have, an organization supporting them.
Yes.
And at the same time, it's also good for the organization because you will be able to attract more membership at maging active sila sa organization para ma-avail din nila itong mga ganitong we can say
Benefits, yes.
incentives and benefits. That's good to know. Apart from this po, any additional po?
Magkakaroon po tayo ng medical mission.
Okay.
So, once...
Kasi quarterly po ito, no?
So once magkakaroon tayo ng permit,
Mhm.
so we will proceed with the medical mission.
Sorry. Nasa isip ko po kanina yung donation drive. Iba pa po
Iba
yung
yun. Yes,
blood
iba
donation
pa.
drive.
Iba yung
sa-
blood donation drive kaysa medical mission.
I see, okay.
So itong medical mission is nakaplan to within this year pag pinayagan tayo ng local government natin na mag-conduct ng medical mission, we will do it.
Okay.
And we will announce kung anong klase.
Yeah.
Normally yung parang pupunta sa isang labor camp, di ba? And then try to
Right.
Free eye check-up or free dental check-up.
Right.
Something
Pati
like
yung
that.
mga blood pressure.
Blood
and all.
pressure.
Pati dugo.
Yes.
Yeah, for sugar.
For sugar.
That's good to know. Let us know dito sa Kabayan kung kailan po
For sure,
mangyayari.
for sure.
So at least we can
Definitely.
help you spread
Yes.
these initiatives. I just have a question po. Kasi during this time of pandemic and many companies and people have been affected, may mga nawalan po ng work.
Isa na ako.
I'm so sorry po for what happened.
It's okay.
But I would just like to know, is there a thing that the PPO does to be able to assist yung ating mga kababayan who underwent this kind of situations during the time of pandemic? Or meron po ba tayong naibigay na support? Or halimbawa, do we gather these people and then we give them support sa paghahanap ng bagong work or ng career advice or whatever?
Normally ang naigagawa ng isang organization is linkages talaga. Kumbaga parang kung meron tayong isang member na mawala ng work is may refer lang ba? May refer.
Okay.
So and since ang PPO is composed of napakaraming ang organization and bawat organization meron kanya-kanyang linkages. So maganda
It's a matter of their respective organizations.
Oo.
Okay.
And then binibigay na lang, pinapasa na lang kung ano yung mga requirements ba.
Right. Okay, maraming salamat po dyan sa information. Is there anything that you would like to add po about your programs and projects po?
I think it's already discussed.
Okay
At,
po. Or is there anything that you would like to add in general about the PPO or kung meron din po kayong gustong batiin? Because right now, we are at 8:30, almost 8:30 and we're about to wrap up. Is there anything that you would like
Ako
to...
muna.
Sige.
Sige.
Pabatiin natin tong lista ko.
So I would like to greet my wife Heidi and my son Justin and my daughter Isabel and also my mother Mama Ising. And to all the ISIP Qatar members and officers, especially our Governor Carmelito Bernadis, Kinsley Manisi, Edward Dumlao, and my secretary in 2019, Jupi Lapalik, and Ma'am Ivy, Ma'am Kay Herson, and our ISIP National President, Pres. Doc. Michelle Lawas. Magandang gabi, Ma'am Jan. And mga kaibigan ko, si Romy, si Marcel, si Obid, si April, and Ate Julie, and Brad Jan, and Rizzy Pospo.
Yeah. Thank you very
Magandang
much, Sir Jaime. How about Sir Sherwin?
Ako naman i-greet ko lang siyempre yung aking wife, si Sig, and daughters na si Alisa and Alexa na naikinig sa Pilipinas ngayon, no? And also my daughter who is watching in Spain, si Aliana. And of course, my mom, si Inay Leti, and sa mga kapatid ko na nakikinig sa Mindoro. And sa lahat ng ISEP Qatar officers and members, si Gob Mac, ang aking sinundan, and then si Gob Jess, na mga advisors na sila ngayon, no, na hindi nabanggit ni Mr. Jaime. So ayun.
Nasisigap ako eh.
Oo, isama natin, di ba?
Maraming salamat po ulit sa pagsama sa amin dito sa Usapang Qabayan on our 10th episode. Again, thank you very much to all the Philippine Professional Organization Qatar officers, Sir Jaime Fortaliza, Sir Sherwin Ricaflanca, who are the secretaries of the organization, and earlier who joined us, Mr. Adonis Talabo, who is the chairman, and Miss Mary Rose Uy, who is the treasurer. Maraming salamat po ulit sa
Thank you,
pagsama
RJ.
sa amin. So to all our listeners, the night is still young and we're gonna play more music for you, but just in case you got interested in watching us on air, or actually listening us on air and watching us online, and you can always share this video that we have. It's available on our social media platforms as well as on YouTube. So just share that to your friends and family members. Maybe this conversation that we had can benefit all of them. And once again, the night is still young. Keep it locked in only here at Qabayan Radio 94.3. We'll be playing more music for you. Once again, thank you very much. Kenzo signing out from Usapang Qabayan. I'll be back, or we will be back again next Saturday from 7 p.m. up until 8:30. So for now, just enjoy the music and enjoy the evening.